now we have Senator Cassidy Webb.
Okay, thank you. Let me just respond a little bit to Senator Heinrich's point. I hope Senator Heinrich's not suggesting that we don't attempt to increase oil and gas production in the immediate near term in order to help the Europeans and ourselves off of the dependence upon Russia, denying Russia the income they need to fund Putin's war machine. We can all agree that long term there's things we must do, but near term it is clear what we must do is increase supply of oil and gas to take away the volatility of the pricing that is resulting because of Putin's war. I'll just make that point. Dr. Richmond, you clearly bring enthusiasm to your job, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I would like to focus right now on the Coastal Zone Research Initiative of the Office of Science Reauthorization for just a minute. And as you might imagine, I'm from Louisiana. The Gulf Coast is one of the regions highlighted. And the program's direction is to enhance the understanding of coastal ecosystems. The director is to develop models to analyze the ecological, biogeochemical, hydrological, physical, and human processes that interact in coastal zones. When I look at your bio, it seems as if this would be something that you have an interest in. And I spoke about this concept to Dr. Berhe during her nomination. How can the work under the Coastal Zone Research Initiative be used to better understand the carbon storage value of coastal zones and wetlands? And related, what other programs in this reauthorization could be used to establish carbon sequestration values of ecosystem restoration? By the way, we're told there needs to be a kind of dollar value, if you will, related to the net amount of carbon sequestration that would result with coastal restoration. So it seems as if that science has to be developed so that if we wanted a negative carbon offset, everybody would be sure about the values that we're using. Now I'll turn it back to you.
Well, you know, our coastal areas, your region of the country, are just incredibly important. And I think that in terms of what we're doing in the Office of Science and BER is addressing exactly where you want to go with this. Let me say that what we need to do more of, and we are currently working on, is improving our computational models to be able to predict the future, predict things in the future, and this is really important. And so tying in our BER activities with regards to soils and coastal issues, along with our computational methods, which are in OSCAR, are allowing us to develop models that can give us predictive values for not only cost, but also damaging effects of climate change on our ecosystem in these areas. So this is a
now let me ask, because what I'm specifically told is that there has to be some sort of kind of, oh yeah, this is the net amount of carbon that would be sequestered if you rebuild a hectare of coastline. How far along are we in terms of establishing that model?
So this is not my area of expertise. It's more Berhe's, Dr. Berhe's, and so, but I'd be happy to get back to you on that issue. It's just not.
Sounds great. Let me ask you about something else. I've been very interested in the use of blockchain and artificial intelligence in order to track emissions and other such things. And the bipartisan infrastructure bill can trace its energy provisions back to this committee's actions last summer, which included requiring DOE to publish a study within a year of the use of digital tools in analyzing and addressing climate change and the impacts. Are you aware of the study? And do you anticipate the Office of Science contributing to the report, considering its extensive history in AI, supercomputing, and other digital needs?
So in that area, I do believe that the Office of Science is working very hard on this, particularly OSCAR. Area, but on the other hand, I don't know the state of that report right now, but I'd be happy to get back to you on the details of that.
Sounds great. And then let me just kind of talk about carbon oxide sequestration research and geologic computing initiative. The proposed legislation would continue to invest in the research into computing that can identify pore spaces for carbon sequestration. How can the increased funding help us to better understand and, if you will, transfer the EPA to help expedite the permitting and siting of carbon sequestration wells?
Well, I think any progress that we make with regards to increasing our computational capacity using AI and particularly to increase our capabilities for resolution so that we can actually be looking at specific areas in order to do the predictions is very important. And I know that that's not only in the Office of Science, but it's also in many of our, in terms of their thinking, but it's also being instituted at a number of our different national laboratories. They put that as very much as a priority with regards to being able to do those simulations to do the predictions. And this is a work in progress. You know, the Office of Science is doing very basic research to build up this capacity, and so it's sort of flying the plane while you're building it, but we're trying to get as much results out as we can while we're also building that plane, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Dr. Richmond. I yield.
Senator Cortez Masto.